This week on RSBANDB Update, is it possible that Treasure Hunter could be removed from RuneScape? Jagex asked about microtransactions and asked the players how much they value RuneScape. We then head back to the Sanctum of Rebirth for a Lore Digger special. This is RSBANDB Update, episode 997, recorded Thursday, August 1st, 2024. The RuneScape Pyramid Scheme. Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of RSBANDB Update, episode 997 coming down the pipe as you probably heard. Yes, the big 1000 is creeping up on us. More on that in a little bit. But of course, Pernasius, welcome aboard.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone.
Also, this week, we're going to be going over the lore of Sanctum of Rebirth, and to do that, we have a mini Lore Diggers episode for you. It's not as fully in-depth as something like the Daemonheim dig site was, but we have Avernick here. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Been on for Quest Weeks, Lore Diggers, and whatnot, and is in the questing clan, the Scrying Pool. You guys do quests there, right?
Oh, yes, we do quests quite proficiently.
Good. And then we have Zerdones as well from the Questing Clan. That's our actual branding, Clan Quest. Welcome, Zerdones.
Hey there. We may be small, but we know how to use it.
Yeah, the lore community is, and they definitely. I think looking at what we have here, it carries forward, and we see the benefits that come from lore in game, and we're gonna go through all that. This week on the show.
Makes everything better.
Yeah, it does. Absolutely. It does. But before we begin, just want to thank this week's experienced tier members, and that's Ambush Reed, Andrew C, Drama Free, Jason S, Jesse W, Kesky, Ricky A, Rippeth, Runestar, and the Naked Captain. You'll be hearing more about the experienced tier and a potential expansion to it a little bit later when we talk about our Patreon offerings. But in the meantime, if you want to follow along, full show notes can be found over at update.show. We also have our Discord at update.show/Discord, and the friends chat in-game is BitsBytes. Alrighty, folks, and, we're going to just put the lore off to the side here for a minute because...
Oh, no!
One thing we do have to discuss. They put this out last Friday, the player value survey on Treasure Hunter, Solomon's Store, and more.
You're just trying to tank the engagement metrics for this episode, aren't
No,
you?
I'm gonna
Everybody's tuning out right now. Oh, they're gonna talk about.
No, we're gonna have the best engagement metrics on this episode because you know what this means?
Controversy.
No, well, maybe controversy, but it means that there is a world where Jagex is considering getting rid of Treasure Hunter, perhaps.
Wow.
I don't believe that.
And replaced with what?
Yeah. Right, that's the thing. Yeah, if they, I've had this argument with so many people this past week. If they replace it with something, if they take out Treasure Hunter, they're going to replace it.
You don't know what you're getting. You don't know what you're getting.
It won't make them less money.
No.
Exactly. It'll be something more egregious.
Whatever they put in that replaces Treasure Hunter, if you hate Treasure Hunter, you will hate this more. I can virtually guarantee.
We saw Hero Pass.
I like the old squeal. Hero Pass. I like.
Oh my God, it's gotten so bad. You said nostalgia for Squeal of Fortune.
Yeah, I like Squeal.
What if nostalgia for everything?
What if it's
just give me an online poker game in this, and I'll be happy.
Yeah, and I said give me lockboxes.
Texas Yelps did nothing wrong.
Texas Hold'em to win your bonus XP and. hit a royal flush and you can get your whatever the
295
royal flush is very rare, like stupidly.
Yeah, I ran
rare.
up 2 of them in 2 games on PokerStars.
Oh my God!
Bloody cheating website it is.
All your luck gone.
I feel like the flush and the straight flush.
No,
I
ran against them.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, then you have much luck coming your way.
This has got to be a new record for going off the rails.
No, it's fine. It's because it's all about the gambling at the end of the day, folks. I like gambling.
I don't like gambling. I only play poker.
Dopamine.
I like gambling with other people's money.
It is, and let's just rip the Band-Aid off right now. And the one of the questions, we're not going to go through all of them. The survey's open till the 5th, so you're kind of going to be at a close window if you're just hearing about it on the podcast here. But the first question we're going to be going about is, how are you satisfied with the following elements of microtransactions in RS3? They go right off the bat and saying, well, the prominence of microtransactions, you can rate that from strongly dislike to strongly like. There's also a section about treasure hunter using chance-based rewards.
Dislike.
Okay. The ability to gain power using real money. I feel like a lot of people are going to be ticking that like or strongly like on that one.
No, wait, I thought it was the other way. No?
Yeah, I'm thinking, well, I mean, it's hard to say, right? Because the people that we tend to hear from on this tend to be
in the strongly dislike category.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're very vocally strongly dislike. And I mean, we've kept Treasure Hunter and Squeal of Fortune before that for going on 11 years now. More than 11 years, I think.
It's time for a
clearly
rebrand.
Somebody uses it.
Maybe.
Well, yeah, arguably, but I mean, like, for all the hate that it gets, clearly it's
It's paying the
somehow.
bills.
Yeah. It's working.
There's also the prominence of microtransactions out of game, so I guess that's things like the Solomon's General Store and bonds, perhaps?
I
guess so.
This would have to be, yeah.
The ability to earn treasure hunter keys in game. You remember how everybody wanted their free keys back with daily challenges?
Strongly dislike.
Really? You dislike that?
It's a source of free experience. If we're talking about how experience is devalued these days, it's from trying to keep up with... It's the freebies.
You sir just smacked the cat on the nose.
I mean, I don't entirely... I want to push back on that because I think... Like, it does contribute. It does contribute some. But for one thing, like, the majority... You do get some lamps. There is some direct XP you get. But the vast majority of stuff that you get from Treasure Hunter is either bonus XP or stuff like Proteans. So stuff that you still have to go out and train that just makes it easier.
It's just not direct XP.
But the bigger reason I want to push back is because it does contribute. I'm not going to say it doesn't contribute. But if you look at Fresh Start Worlds, the XP devaluation is not due to Treasure Hunter. Like,
Fresh Start Worlds had a giant multiplier on it.
Yeah, but day one, like, not for the first week. And in the first week, how many 120s did we get? How many 200 mils did we get?
I wasn't paying attention to Fresh Start Worlds.
I know for a fact that we got the first 120 within 24 hours.
This is what was it? I forget.
Magic.
There's magic.
Right, because of the
obviously
because of the,
when EV3 was
because
still
of the elite dungeon
broken.
nonsense. Yeah, correct. Right.
Yeah.
So like,
it is high.
I'm not going to say Treasure Hunter doesn't play a role, but if you want to look at the source of XP devaluation, like there's other things that I think should be looked at first.
Okay, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I have no issue with the being. I mean, I hate lamps, but I have no issue with it being on there for people who want to use it. I like bonus XP because I'm still engaging with the content, but I can go and do a skill I don't like, and I'm getting double XP, so it's going through a bit faster. So I'm still engaging with that content, that skill I'm not a fan of, but I'm getting through it a bit quicker. I would love to have the option, if you get a lamp, you can take a lamp or take bonus XP. I don't like having to take a lamp, especially now that Dungeoneering is complete, because I was just pumping lamps into that.
So is this what it comes down to then? And, I feel like it's a very nuanced view that people have one way or another about, maybe the gambling or the morality behind it or the ethics or something to that effect. That's one side of it. Yeah. But I think the other side is that, there was a cohort of, RS3 players back in the day who just absolutely hated how things were devalued with Treasure Hunter. And, I think the most important question in this first section of the survey is, do you strongly dislike or do you strongly like, or somewhere in between, the ability to buy Treasure Hunter keys with real money? Because that's what it comes down to at the end of the day for all this, is that this is a vessel for real money, and your benefit is that you get a faster progression through the game one way or another. Now, I agree with you, Zerdones. I don't think Treasure Hunter is the thing that has devalued XP in the game. I think you can look at a whole myriad of skills out there and see that that's a problem.
Exactly. Again, the game's 25 years old. I mean, the front page of, the high scores is filled. If someone comes in now and, you've got a mate, you're Max, and you've got a mate who's coming in, and he wants to, he's got money and he wants to drop money on that type of thing to get his account up so he can start going and doing bosses and such with you, there's no problem with that. I mean, hell, I wouldn't even care if they start selling, for extra membership, you can do a one-off payment of, $60 and buy an account that's level 60 on everything. I would never do it because I think you miss out on that sort of, with RuneScape, it's the journey, not the end, that is the fun part. But for people, if they want to buy bonus XP or buy treasure hunter keys to, load up on all that, power to them. If you've got spare money, I play the game pretty much full time because, obviously I can't work with my back. But for someone who only has 2 or 3 hours a week where they can sit down and play, and they want to level up because they love quests, but they need level 85 in this quest. Okay, I work full time. I earn $120,000 a year. I'm going to drop, $400 on some keys to get that XP, to get that going. Power to them. It's not hurting me. It's not hurting my game. Yep. It's bringing money into the game to pay the devs' salaries, to get more content into the game that I'm going to enjoy. So it's a facile. The argument that it ruins my game is crap.
I think people use that argument because it evokes an emotional response. And, honestly, back when Treasure Hunter first came out in 2012 or 2013, the player base of the game was younger. The player base has grown up since then. And you could have made that argument out to a bunch of people at that point in time who weren't working, I think, at least.
Well, I want to try and approach like that reaction earnestly, because I do think people who say it devalues my experience, I don't think they're lying. I think they do believe that, and I think there is an impulse of, if I could, or there's a way of thinking that goes, if I could have just bought it, then why didn't I? Why did I waste my time?
It wasn't a high enough value to you.
And I think, there's a lot of ways you can answer that question, and how you answer it is ultimately going to come down to you personally. For me, I'm not going to say how I would answer it for myself, but I will say I would find that argument more compelling if RuneScape were a more competitive game. Like if this were something like Fortnite.
We don't even have PvP anymore.
Right. We do, but hardly anyone uses it.
Hey, there's a patch note for PvP this week.
Oh boy.
Yeah, there is still PvP. I'm sure there's still a devoted PvP scene. It's definitely not as prominent as it was back in 2001 or so, or even 2008. But yeah, like if this were like a Fortnite, or like those mobile like Clash of Clans, World of Warship type games where you are directly competing against other players.
Yeah.
And you can just get steamrolled, like no matter how much effort you put in.
Oh yeah, that's another
limited by other people.
Yeah.
Paying money.
Yeah.
And then you can't progress. That's not the kind of game.
That's another classic example of the power creep that you can buy. World of Tanks, World of Warships, like you mentioned. You can just, pick up a vehicle that is in many ways, overpowered, and they won't touch it because people put real money on it. And that is your way to, earn experience and credits to get ahead. And we don't have that in game. And, we were talking a bit about this in the lead up to the show, is that, if Jagex went, really off the deep end and really, went down what is the modern version of monetization, which is, lockboxes, power, and, opulence with that, we said you'd have riots, probably.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
I would like to cover 2 points real quick.
Yes.
One, So many people stopped listening to us like 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, we're already thousands of downvotes.
No, we're not advocating for any of this. We're painting the picture on the other side.
Yeah. Sure. Two, I would just like to clarify my point on the question that was asked. I don't like the free treasure hunter keys. I am totally fine with the paid ones.
So just for my own clarity.
Yep.
Is it the daily challenge ones you don't like, or the ones that you get randomly while skilling?
Both. Okay. Absolutely both. And daily challenge XP lamps as well, just because it raises the XP rate for everyone. When it's special to the people that pay for it, then it's an anomaly. When it's the baseline, then we're having to go even further above and beyond to overcome it for new best thing. I'm fine with it being the anomaly in someone else's experience and whatever, but when it's just at this point, it's you have to choose not to use it, and it is shown everywhere to like use it now. So
yeah.
See, I only really use the free ones, and I like getting them because, as I said, lamps I'll trade for oddments, but you're just getting that occasional kicker bonus XP and such, and the note paper and the Silverhawk feathers and all that type of stuff. They're, you 3 daily. 6 keys a day doesn't really get you a lot. Yeah, I'm Premier Club, so I get 3 free dailies plus the 3 out of.
It's like 100k XP a day and a skill you weren't going to train anyway. I guess you're doing the bonus XP thing, but
and then I go and do it. And as I said, I was the lamps were all going on to dungeoneering, but that's at 199 mil now, so I have to stop that. So they just get traded for oddments.
That skill's got problems on its own.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, they need the hole permanently.
The permanent hole.
Yeah, just sit in a hole.
So I guess just to rescue this in general is that the survey is asking, how do you feel about microtransactions in RS3? Then how do you feel about it in gaming in general? And how do you feel about the microtransaction offerings that we have right now in game for RS3 specifically? And I want to come back to how we started this, because you mentioned that that people might be leaving, and I think a lot of the question out there is are people going to complete this survey, and is this going to be the grand awakening, so to speak, that causes Jagex to remove Treasure Hunter from the game? And honestly,
put my chips on no.
Yeah, and honestly, it's been out for a decade plus at this point. It's probably due for a revamp, and if you're going to remove it, you have to figure out where that money is going to be made up elsewhere.
What I would like to see is how much money in real dollars Treasure Hunter by itself brings into the game. Not bonds and Treasure Hunter, just Treasure Hunter brings into the game.
Right.
First, we see how much that is, because then we'd have to say, okay, 50% of the game's profit comes in via Treasure Hunter. Okay, therefore, your membership of... What's the current membership in America? $8?
$14.99.
Yeah, way more.
A month. Oh, wow. Okay.
$14.
Just if you buy it 1 month at a time.
Yeah. Okay. So $15
was the 2012 price.
Okay. Well, I just get the Premier Club every year, so I don't really look at that. Okay. So say $15 a month. Okay. You're paying $15 a month. We're going to take all Treasure Hunter out, but you're now going to be paying $30 a month for the game. Are you willing to do that?
That was a question they asked later, that I think they're doing that calculus.
Yeah,
and
they're
a little bit.
They're landing
when they're
on
asking what's too much.
I'm just going to go there right now since you brought that up. But the exact question is, if microtransactions were to be removed from RS3, which of the that's not the one. Considering the current core 1 month membership price for RS3, please input a numerical value for your currency, and it asks. Where does RuneScape become a good value, and how much would you be willing to pay for that RuneScape experience without
Yeah, and what's the breaking point? I thought it was funny also they asked that what's too little? Well, you're concerned that, I guess they're not paying their employees or something.
No, as to where it wouldn't look like a value to you, right? Or that'd be too cheap.
Yeah, if it's $1 a month, you're going, what type of game charges me $1 a month? Yeah, okay.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, but I mean, but that's the thing. I mean, I buy my Premier Club Australian dollars. It's 120 a month. That's good value to me. But I spend 35, 40 hours a week playing the game because, yes, a lot of it is passive play where I can just sit and do my fishing while I'm folding, washing, doing the dishwasher and all that. That's me. Mm-hmm. But for someone who only gets, their 3 or 4 hours a week, $15, yeah, okay, I'll pay that. But are they going to pay $30 for 3 hours entertainment a week?
Right. Well, yeah. Right. And the other factor is how that compares in the market. Like I just pulled out a couple quickly. Like WoW is $19. Well, that's Canadian. I don't know what that is in US.
Probably
$19
$15.
Canadian a month. Call it $15
on top of the base purchase. Right, every expansion has a flat fee you have to pay. So yeah, but that's still high.
The Old Republic is $15 US a month. I don't know what Stowe is, Shane. You probably know.
0.
If Stowe even has one. Oh, Stowe doesn't have a membership? Okay.
Well, you can buy one, but it just gives you a little bit extras. You don't need it to play.
Oh, okay. So, where I'm going with this is, I think RuneScape is worth paying for.
Yeah.
Compared to other MMOs, is it worth paying double industry average?
Yeah.
Right. I'm curious, do you guys... at least Zordon, you hadn't taken the survey yet, and Pern as well. Shane, what did you put as your max price? Like, what's the price where it's too expensive?
I would say 20 a month.
I also said 20.
Yeah. I would. That's what I would have put down on that.
I put this in the eyes as well. Having a legacy $5 membership to the point at hey, what is this a good value at? Oh, it's my $5 a month. At what point does it not become a good value and it's too cheap? I put $4 a month.
I think I put 3.
For that question, I'd say $1 because a game that's charging me $1 a month, I'm sitting here. What the hell,
Why not, right?
For me, Australian. As I said, I do mine once a year. Christmas time, it's my Christmas present to myself. $120. It's $12 a month. It's nice and easy. If they added, if you've got the gold premiership, if they did as I said before, if they did a platinum one where they throw in rune metrics for an extra 30 on top of that, I'd buy that as well because it's not something I use, but hey, it's something I'd like to look at, but I'm not going to buy it separately. Right. But if they sit there and suddenly tell me, okay, we're dropping all transactions, but it's going to cost you $240 a year now, I'd balk at that price.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd probably be fine with Premier if it was just the price of current membership times 12 plus all of the amenities. I don't know. I don't know if they need to discount. It's a great deal with the discount, but I think that might be somewhere that they could make up a little cost.
But again, that's
a good deal right now.
But that's to also try and guarantee that.
Right, they're trying to entice you in so they have the money
for the whole 12 months rather than I go to school, I'll buy it every 3 months. I'll do my membership over summer or whatever like that. So it's a good thing so I can sort of play an hour or two of a night or whatever. But I agree. It probably doesn't need to have as big a discount. Maybe 1 month free. Buy it and that you get pay for 11 months and get 12 months. That'd still be a decent decent value.
Yeah, and that followed up with a question: if microtransactions were to be removed from the RuneScape 3 experience, which of the following would be most important to you to maintain your what was the exact wording here? To maintaining your experience of RuneScape 3, and obviously the options there involve talking about, the ability to get XP boosts, the ability to get power boosts, the ability to get cosmetics and, special unique items, and so to speak, like that. So they're fishing to see, which of the things around Treasure Hunter and the time-limited events, are people, really after it?
Yeah, what's enticing people?
What's enticing people?
One question I would throw out to people who, if they are against Treasure Hunter, okay, you don't like the gambling aspect of Treasure Hunter. What if on Solomon's Store they had, bonus XP or direct XP packs where you can buy 10 lamps for $100 or 10 stars for $80, something like that? Would that be more palpable for people?
They have those. Well, sort of. Like the DXP bundles are sort of that.
Yeah, that type of thing. But
always available
permanently.
Yeah, always
no limit,
available.
Always available.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's
again. If people are talking about the valuing, I mean, I don't really. Yeah, I guess it is. Technically, it is gambling, but I think there are much more egregious gambling systems out there.
Oh yeah, we were talking about those in pre-show. I mentioned the Star Trek Online ships, $200 a pop. You see your favorite ship from the most recent series, or you apply that to RS3, which I am not endorsing. I'm not going to endorse this. I said I might not even say it on the show, but I am not endorsing that this happen or this be a good thing for the game.
It's got to be said, but of course we
imagine a world where they add Jagex lockboxes and you can get Tier 95, Tier 90 weapons from them that have unique effects to them, unique visual effects on them, and they are at that 1 in 100 mark where you usually need to spend $100 worth of real currency on them to get. I think that would be the truly egregious form of monetization.
The first outcry would be, how do you earn these in game? Because it's happened to every item that's had a unique effect on Treasure Hunter. It's happened to the Spring Cleaner, the Silverhawks, everything. And then the outcry would be, it's too hard to get in game. Why is it easier to get in Treasure Hunter? Or whatever.
And those are the two polar opposites of the way this goes, is that they either go more egregious like this in terms of a Treasure Hunter revamp and increasing the amount of money it can extract, or there's enough of an outcry from this and they think they can get away with raising membership prices that they remove Treasure Hunter, which for me, I think the first one is more likely the way they go. Unfortunately,
I agree, because among other reasons, the problem with raising subscriptions is you're going to have some percentage of players who say this is no longer worth it to me. I'm going to stop playing. The question is always: is that amount, is the amount you lose from that attrition going to be more than what you gain in the revenue? I don't know that answer. I imagine Jagex probably has a pretty good guess, because this is what accountants are paid to do, basically.
And there's also the old school question as well, right?
Yes,
old school doesn't
their membership
have,
goes up theoretically as well.
Old school doesn't have monetization associated with it aside from bonds. And the argument the RS3 players make is that, if old school can in effect support itself without monetization, and I think that's a bad argument to make, because we don't necessarily know how the finances flow inside Jagex and how much less it costs to produce old school, right? But just because a dollar comes in on the RS3 side doesn't mean it stays on the RS3 side. It goes into the Jagex financial coffers that then gets spread around to everything in the company.
Yeah, we don't know how the budgeting works internally on that. Yeah. And they haven't been telling us in the financials how the revenue breaks down. They used to, but they don't anymore.
One question I didn't ask that I'd be curious to know the answer to is the question would be, if we converted Treasure Hunter into something that only gave out cosmetics, no items, no effects, no XP, would it still be A, as offensive, and B, would people that spend money on it still spend money on it?
I would be more enticed to spend money on it if it gave out just cosmetics.
If it was purely it was gambling and cosmetics and nothing else. I would be. Does that get rid of every issue other than people that like the cosmetics?
Yeah, that's a good question, because I would be enticed to spend more on that. So, I need to tell the story. I think at this point in my Fresh Start account, I had never bought actual key packages before this, but around Christmas Fresh Start year, I bought the big key package and whatnot to finish off the 99 archaeology push before Fresh Start ended. And it just sounded absolutely horrible, it felt horrible on that. I wanted the inverted cape, but it just felt horrible getting the 99 that way to me. So much so I never really wanted to touch that account anymore, really.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
So
I mean, you talked me into fresh starts about 10 days after it started, but I basically quit playing it once everyone was buying keys and things. It's like, well, okay, there's no real point racing for it now.
Yeah.
But the keys didn't come in until the competitive phase had ended.
Exactly. That's right. Yeah. And then again, because I play the game for the journey. I don't want to race. Yeah. Yes, if it's a competition, I'll race. But once all that's done, it's like, yeah, okay, I'm over. Exactly.
So I think there's only a couple other things to mention here. Is that they were also, in addition to all the general microtransaction stuff, they were talking about, the fact that, hey, maybe, if you're a player who lapsed as a result of Treasure Hunter, what is the likelihood that you would return to the game if Treasure Hunter was removed? So they're outright asking these questions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're asking some big ones too. Yeah.
And I don't necessarily know that a survey like this on such a polarizing topic is a good way to go about this, because I think this survey does one thing alone very well, is it allows somebody who is skeptical of Treasure Hunter, at the very least, and at the very other end of the spectrum, absolutely hates Treasure Hunter. It allows them to define in their own mind what a RuneScape without Treasure Hunter looks like, and sell themselves that in the time span of about 20 minutes on doing this survey. So you factor that in with everything in terms of the magnitude about how people feel with Treasure Hunter and how much they'd be willing to spend to have a game without Treasure Hunter. I think all this survey does at the end of the day, and this is probably the reason Jagex put it out, is that it's a survey that shows how strong their community's opinion is that Treasure Hunter needs to be removed, or at the very least change. I think that's the whole point of the survey at the end of the day.
Which is a fair thing for them to want to know.
And they know they're going to get biased answers.
They do.
Exactly.
But they know that with every survey they get.
And to whoever thinks that they're going to release the results of this survey, that's an insane thought. This is
Quick question.
This is a guiding hand, not like they're beholden to whatever this says.
Right.
Quick question. Have they hired their new boss yet? Is this
for RS3?
No.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I was wondering if maybe they've sort of already got someone in behind the scenes ready to come in, and this is his question to say, hey, if we're going to do a shake-up, if I'm coming in to shake things up, these are the questions I want to know.
No.
If they have, then they haven't announced it, and they haven't taken down the job posting yet, so I'm guessing no.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Seems unlikely.
Job posting's still up, it's unlikely. Yep.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So it all comes down to the question is, can RuneScape be a game like World of Warcraft, like Elder Scrolls Online, that functions with purely cosmetic monetization without gambling? And is there,
I think without gambling is the key there, because they have other monetization that's...
like you can't get rid of bonds.
Monetizations.
And they sell accounts that are fully leveled. Like, do we want that?
And see, that's another path you go, right?
Yeah. Just sell level skills.
Like imagine buying an account.
There's no other game out there that does literally nothing.
No.
I think gambling's a big component of it that you can do with or without. Like if you just had like, this is how much a max account costs, is that okay? Probably not to a lot of these people.
And do you want that for the PVM encounters you get? So,
yeah.
And I just want to, I think if we're gonna, stick a skewer through the kebab on this one, I think all we need to do at the end of the day here is say that it's a bit premature to say that Treasure Hunter is going away.
Oh yeah.
But at the very least, they are looking at options at the very least of how it can evolve, and if it, how the players would feel if it were to be removed. And then they can run the numbers on all their spreadsheets and whatnot and projections and see if that would be feasible. That's where we're at.
Again, as I said, if it's purely cosmetic and you had a guarantee, okay, once I've opened 100 chests, I will get that drop. Okay, that's fine. But when you look at it, I say, okay, well, it's guaranteed 100. What's a key cost? What's a 15 pack get you $15 get you 20 keys or something, doesn't it?
Something like that.
Yeah. So say it works out like $1 or 50 cents a key. So at $100, 100 guaranteed, it's going to cost you $50. Would you spend $50 on this? On the super rare one, it's guaranteed at 500 boxes. Is that worth $250?
Right, and that goes to the lockbox mechanic I was talking about, and you go that way, you open yourself up to an entirely different problem. So
exactly, yeah.
Do we think that this is the sounding shot that enough time has passed since Hero Pass to start thinking about monetization again?
I think we're gonna find out in the comments under this video.
like it's been quiet since Hero Pass, right? And everyone, once they got rid of it, like there's got to be something else coming. Is this the point where they're like, okay, let's figure out our MTX strategy again?
If you hang out on World 84, people are missing Yak Track. People are talking about,
the nostalgia always hits it.
Sets in. It does.
Yep.
People are actually talking about bringing back Hero. Oh, when are they going to do another Hero Pass, but better? You know, it's like.
I was seeing people today saying, like, "Oh man, that Fort series is really good."
Right.
But yeah, it's funny just seeing people talking about missing Yak Track when everyone hated it so much before.
You don't know what you got, right?
Right until you lose it.
It's like going over to someone's house for dinner, right? You don't know what they're going to cook, but sometimes you might not like it, right?
Hero Pass 2.
Right, and that's the thing. You don't know what you're going to get, but
instead of Treasure Hunter,
you've opened the door to that discussion.
Ozan's Pass.
Raptor's Pass.
And I just want to say that both Avernick and Pernasius, and I think even User Dones, were fans of Hero Pass, right?
Absolutely.
Gave me something to do.
Yep. I like that sort of having
I like battle passes
thing to unlock.
I thought
I just want to say the most controversial reactions I've ever had to an episode were Hero Pass and Pride.
It's a shame that we're not doing the video versions anymore because my shocked face is just
would be just your face
right now. Yeah.
As we said before, the thing they did with Hero Pass, where they tried to lock up behind Premier Club and took away the free daily key challenges on people, that's what killed them.
And the power boost.
I think if they hadn't done those two things, the power boost I don't think would have, because the power boost
they were
behind
because
Premier
people didn't know how they were going to get them though. Like even after, because that was initially a Premier feature, then they moved it to free, and it still wasn't okay.
You could have coddled the power boost better, I guess.
But
also, I think a lot of unclear. A lot of people seem to be unclear on some of the design aspects. I think it was clarified later, but by that point, it was too late.
We need to just honestly have a nice. Well, no, I say this, but that wouldn't go over well. I just said we need to have a nice conversation live stream with whoever's behind this, if it's still Mod Mike or whoever, but you know how those kind of live streams go.
Yeah, that's a bad name for him too.
That's
microtransactions.
Not fun.
I always read it as Mod Mick, but you might be right.
In any case, I have something here that doesn't involve gambling, and that's our Patreon offerings. So I want to thank our Patreon members this week. I'd like to thank Alaska, Alvaro L, Amos Reed, Anatoly D, Andrew C, Arvids L, Brayton K, Chilbura, Daniel W, Dominic R, Drama Free, Dura Max, Gila Fleur, Jacob G, Jade Gizmo, Jason S, Jesse W, Jim M, Kesky, Lemon Lodge, Luminos, Mongrath, Pernasius, Ricky A, Rippeth, Robbie D, Runestar, Samuel F. Hell, Scott DS, Shirt Pants, Targaryen, The Naked Captain, The Davin Goat, Tim, Truth Ray, Ukulele Steve, and Zant. Big, huge thank you to everybody out there. It truly means the world to us, and we'd like to just give a little something extra to our Patreon members as we celebrate the big 1,000 milestone coming up. So first we have our valued contributor, $1 per month tier. This gets you access to all of the monthly bits that we do. It gives you the ability to vote on them. We're producing one right now about skilling expression in-game that will go to record sometime next week. But you get access to all the monthly bits as soon as they come out, and access to the back catalog of north of 70 of those for only $1 a month, which is a good value, a very good value. We also have the VIP tier, where for $3 a month you receive a VIP rank on Discord, a chat channel, and a mention on the podcast at the start of the month, plus high-quality stereo versions of the show. For $5 a month, you'll receive a shout-out on the podcast each and every week, and exclusive access to the outtakes that we use to make the clip show. And we'll send you the RSBANDB Update Christmas card every December. But with this, with 1,000 coming, people who sign up for the month of August up through episode 1,000, so anybody who signs up until 1,000 goes to air, will also receive a special episode 1,000 card associated with that. So if that sounds like something you'd like to do, if you are already an existing member and maybe you want to upgrade, you can do that. In addition to everything else. But we do also have the experience tier, which will be expanding to 15 members. Previously, it was only 10, but we're expanding this to 15 because for episode 1,000, the people who sign up for experience tier are also going to get a little something in terms of a mail out for that episode. I'm not going to say what that is. I am keeping this very close to my chest. Even these guys here don't know what that is. So if that sounds interesting to you, we have 4 tiers available to choose from for $1, $3, $5, or $10 a month. But do act quick on the experience tier slots, because those have fulfillment requirements around them. So that's why that one is limited. But if you want to get yourself a special commemorative episode 1,000 card, you can do that by signing up at patreon.com/RSBNB. Thanks so much, everybody. And it's looking good what's on the way. Maybe as we get closer to 1,000, I'll just start teasing this thing.
Ooh.
Is that not what you're already doing?
No, I mean, like, you have no idea what it is, and they have no idea what it is right now. They just know it's a thing.
It's Zautak.
It could just be, it could just be the card that we're sending out for $5, except autographed, right?
It's a mascot, yeah.
Maybe it's something more.
In Arpasandra with what else are we waiting for? Elemental Workshop 5 is in Arpasandra with Zautak and a mascot.
All of the Wishenko Isles.
Are you playing Clue, or what are you playing?
We're playing You're Giving Us Everything We Dreamed of.
Absolutely everything.
Unfortunately, I can't give you
Jagex
things.
is alive again.
I can't give you things that Jagex gatekeeps, like Elemental Workshop 5, Arpasandra, and everything like that. I can't give you that.
How dare they?
For shame.
All right. Well, you mentioned Amasket, so let's talk a little bit about the Sanctum of Rebirth. And was anybody anticipating that this was going to be a little bit of extra desert lore here when we got the Sanctum, until we started doing that quest?
Yeah, I saw this coming, because in the this is metagaming, but in the art station post with the tier 95 concepts, one of the materials was labeled Devourer Energy. So that screams a mascot.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
And also, I think they did mention in the live stream too that they were coordinating with the old school team on
Tombs of a Mascot.
Yeah, like aesthetic similarities with Tombs of a Mascot.
Nice.
See, I was looking at the giant mascot symbol on the side of the pyramid in the concept art, and I was like, that sounds like a mascot.
Oh yeah, that would have been easier.
And see, the thing with all this for me is that I consider the desert lore stuff to be one of the weakest and one of the least that I'm experienced with. So there was a lot here for me on this, and I know what Iclarin does and whatnot like that. But at the end of it all here, I think we got a lot from the soul searching quest, didn't we? For the people who didn't spacebar that on day one to get into to the Sanctum.
You didn't?
Yeah.
That's good.
No, of course I didn't spacebar. What are you talking about?
No, yeah, it was a good mini quest that did its job to onboard people, I think.
Yeah.
With some fun. With some fun.
Yeah. So
it introduced people who maybe haven't done the desert quest yet. Like, it introduced you to... It did a very good job of very quickly establishing the key players, how they relate to each other. Or I guess at least some of the key players.
And real quickly, the parts that are important to the Sanctum, because there's so much desert stuff. That's part of its weakness, is that it's not focused. There's so many things going on, and they keep adding new things, and this is a much more focused part of the desert stuff.
Yeah, because you know what? Last we really touched on the desert was the Menaphos stuff, and really that was, Menaphos lore with the tangent of desert, right? So
that one... Even in that one, they're trying to combine the politics part with the demigod part, and even that, like, Menaphos didn't have the room to do both of those. And there's the Slayer Master part, there's the reincarnation cat part from Tale of Two Cats. There's so much going on, and Menaphos, the scope of it is so big that even Menaphos couldn't do half of it. So,
and I guess the place we start with this is that the Sanctum of Rebirth itself is, in effect, the domain of Amaskit, but Amaskit presently can't reach the Sanctum of Rebirth. And
the former
right,
domain.
This is what she used to do.
Yeah.
It seems to occupy sort of a similar position to the Memory of Nomad building, which was introduced to us as the Clarence house.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't make the connection that those two were kind of parallel in that.
Well, there's kind of like there's a visual similarity with like the cat statues relating to the dog statues on the bridge over the river.
Okay.
Numenor.
Right.
Okay, that makes sense.
They both have their domains.
Yeah.
Now,
so like within the cosmology of RuneScape, because Amaskit's original role was to return to life dead souls who deserved it via some unclear metric. So the Sanctum is where she would do it. That's where you went to be judged to see if you were to be reincarnated or not.
And since she became a devourer in the Second Age, it hasn't happened in a long time.
It hasn't happened in quite a while, except for us, of course. But
and the question behind it is that our character one day, hopes to save a Amaskit.
Yeah, I think that's
interesting.
That's what?
I found that interesting.
Yeah, I think like Flaren's been preaching that for a while. Like he did a lot through the Slisky quests.
About Amaskit?
I think every once in a while they had to say that she existed. I believe. I'll have to look back.
I could be wrong. I feel like the idea of saving Amaskit is new. That
opposed
feels
to dealing with her,
as opposed to just deal, because the former lore, at least as I remember it, is Amaskit was like she was formerly good. She had a necessary but a little bit grim role in the cosmology of Gielinor, and then something happened. Like during the Second Age, she went crazy, and there's different versions of why that happened, but she went crazy and she started consuming souls. So she got kicked out of the underworld. She's trying to do unclear machinations to whatever she's trying to do, and we need to stop her.
And
it seems like it seems like she's all acting under her own agency. This is all her decision.
When is this going to come to a head?
Right in the head. Well, that's
totally
that's
in the Desert series.
Yeah, the Desert series.
I don't think it's not here. It's not in
it's definitely not.
It's not what in the storyline we're currently in. Because I think actually the previous line of the notes that we had is that it's said flatly Amaskit can't come here.
Right.
By Flaren, like a lampshade. Like that's not what we're doing here. It's not the Amaskit coming down and we're dealing with her. We're dealing with her old stuff as a side story.
I do get the sense through
they're setting
this lore. Yes, they are setting her up. I get the sense through this lore that we're retconning Amaskit into being not just like lost her way and turned evil.
Oh,
But
interesting.
specifically corrupted by some outside force. And so our long-term goal isn't to defeat her, it's to save her.
Right.
That feels new to me.
I agree. I do think that maybe not because of things set in game, but just because of how stories are told, I think that the Menaphos stuff was setting Osman up to be the primary antagonist of the desert finale. So I think that we had to deal with Amaska in a halfway, like saving her.
Right.
In the interim,
in
order for Osman to end up
bank on
being
that though? Because when you look
that's
at
totally a
yeah,
guess.
it's hard to say.
And I was going to say, like, it's hard to even bank on that because keep in mind, Menaphos was at the very tail end of when they were still working with the Signature Heroes stuff, right? So it was that same sort of idea. Let's have a normal person from within the game universe be the focus of the storyline, and your character goes along with them rather than your character being the be-all and end-all.
Yeah, I mean, even if that was the plan when Menaphos came out, who knows?
Right, and that was also
still in the cards.
7 years ago.
Yeah,
that was a while ago now.
No, I was just saying, like, I think that Osman is, as of Menaphos, is competing with the Masket for primary antagonist. So
yeah,
I think this
fair.
one saying that a Masket is more redeemable probably puts Osman in a worse light, as far as how that story might go. But yeah, generally, it's setting the stage probably more with current ideas for the desert series.
Yeah, and before we go too far down this track, Avernick, I want to go what you pasted in the Discord today about, that this isn't necessarily a foreshadowing of this is where the story goes after the current Zemreagle stuff.
the meme from Discord?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I think that a lot of players latch on to exactly what the current thing happening is, and that's going to be the last trajectory for I think we dealt with this with the Demonheim dig site, where everyone was like, okay, so it's Dragonkin infiltrating bodies, that's where the story's going. And I think also with Requiem for Dragons, like, okay, it's like Shadow Zautak stuff with Dragonkin. and now it's definitely a Masca is gonna team up with Moya or Belrock or is corrupting. It's something like that.
That sounds right.
We've been told with the roadmap that, like, we're going to a Bilrak quest in winter of this year, and that's where we should be kind of thinking, how do we get there as the main content of that quest, right? It's not like Bilrak's. I don't think they're sidelining Bilrak right now, because in this Age of Chaos thing, they very much in Legacy of Zamorak pushed the Zamorakian faction as the main villains, and that's
and to be fair, they wanted that because it was simple. Derailed. It was a very simple thing to latch onto.
Right. This desert stuff, especially the way they've interacted with it in the Sanctum, is a good touch-on point. It's not the main thing where you're dealing with the lineage of Senlatin and all of the sub-gods of the desert and all that stuff. Like this
you
next
want to do that in
its
own quest line, basically.
Right. There's a quest line for that. And they've been saving that for a while. They're not going to cut it.
So I guess the question
right now,
after the the Zamorak demon stuff, and maybe you have your tie-in to Daemonheim there, is that do they, in the last 15 minutes of the finale for this series, find a way to, show something weird happening in the desert so we can kind of, point to this as being underworld related? And I don't think we bank on that at this point.
No, I
don't see us going in a desert direction.
They're making it RuneScape by using old RuneScape lore in a way that is fun and thematic, and changing the scenery, because I think a lot of issue with sameness with Fort and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Where it kept being the same aesthetic. But now they're able to, like, change it up every once in a while to, okay, let's bring in some Slayer Masters. There's some cool, maybe beasts to hunt or something. Or Bilrock's coming to suck the Dark Soul out of something else that was in here, like he did with Forecast.
When we're talking about this, Nakatra is that we've been told that she's an ex-Slayer Master,
a founding Slayer Master. Yes,
yeah. You just said about Slayer Masters. Do you think that we're going to see yet another Slayer Master added afterwards, with her being something in a quest bringing her back that way?
I think that if we're doing anything with the new Slayer Masters, it's probably not mechanically. It's probably inducting the Raptor into the actual order, because that's just in the storyline, and I think that makes sense. But we are seeing in the roadmap a Slayer creature coming out that has a drop that upgrades our Slayer Helm. I think that's kind of like the thematics that we're working with.
Yeah, that's what I was sort of thinking along that line. But as you said, with that upgrade, will it be?
Will it be something like a Masket theme from here?
Yeah, sort of. Exactly.
Yeah,
something to do with a quest.
Because everybody.
So we find out more.
The Raptor in Ella Maria was everyone's favorite character in that arc, right?
Oh,
yeah, it wasn't.
No.
But it's still.
I'm biting my tongue here.
It's still a part of this storyline, though, and I have more issue with dropping story points flat out than not trying to make them into something that is more prominently agreeable.
I'd rather
we try to turn it into something that people like than kill it.
Right, and you're talking about the Raptor.
Yeah, I'm talking about the Raptor. Like, if there's a way to make them more interesting by maybe having some humility or whatever, trying to join the Slayer Master Order because we need to induct someone to the order in order to get to some room or something.
Oh boy.
I don't know.
Oh boy, that's a bit of a left turn from Sanctum, but I think it illustrates that Sanctum is the now for this lore, and it's looking into a Masket and whatnot. Yeah. Just a couple more points on soul searching before we get into the grave records. Apparently, the spirit prior to us was trying to get to the Sanctum of Rebirth, and they were being controlled by a devourer in doing so, and that's what resulted in Ichlarin restraining that one from getting there, but allowed us to go through.
Right. So, we didn't really do the plot of the quest. Like, the basic plot of the quest that there's some ghost who is ferrying souls over to the Sanctum. That ghost, we find out, is under the control of a Masket, and all of the ghosts that are coming over are being consumed.
They're just gone. To.
Yeah, they're being tricked. They're being deceived.
Would you call it a pyramid scheme?
I like that. That's good.
That's funny. But
just gonna cross it off my notes. Okay, I said it. Good.
So a Masket is consuming souls. Somehow consuming souls is advancing her plans. She still has the ability to control other beings, which we've seen before. We've been that poor sucker. That's Ichlarin's little helper.
Yep.
And when you compare that lore to kind of the godlike stuff that we had in the past, you can ask people what they prefer on that. And, maybe this is a way, and this is my whole reason for saying this is a way to bring people, that god or demigod interaction that they wanted and they've lacked since the end of the Sixth Age.
A little bit closer to that, yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
I do like how in this, granted Ichlarin kind of ruins it, but that a Masket is a felt presence, but not there blasting us with her laser beams.
Right.
It feels more actually like the delicate balance of like the ritual of the Majorat time period, where you kind of felt the influences of gods through their actors.
Right.
And I guess we're going to have a very good litmus test with this to see if that's, the way forward, and if people are going to be happy with that here.
They're trying.
Because, how many, like this is an honest question here. Like, I looked at, people's videos and people's content for Sanctum of Rebirth, and every one that I saw never picked up all the lore pages in this dungeon. So
sure.
Yeah. Are people seeing this as just a PVM experience, or are they also seeing this as, an enrichment of RuneScape lore? I guess that's my question.
did see at least one that got to the third boss said, "Oh, it's not a mascot," which I think kind of paints expectations. Like, I think that there's still the expectations that stuff would be normal,
right?
Like,
yeah,
even out of the blue. And I think when we got the roadmap, there were like 5 to 10 Reddit threads about how does that thing look like Tuska? Did they reanimate Tuska? When it was Kezalam in like the very zoomed out image. So I think there's still some expectation, but it might also be from people that are passively consuming, and it's hard because how do you say to your audience, we're not doing that as much anymore? It's probably saving it for special occasions and stuff like that more than it being the every quest or the whatever combat encounter that didn't really have any prefacing or anything like that before it came out.
Yeah, and
in some ways stepping closer to that kind of works against that instinct, right?
And that's why I asked that question, is because, you know, if you are just going through this and, you know, smacking the bosses in hard mode, it's just a PVM encounter. But at the same time, if you really want to, you know, get your fingernails dirty and whatnot, you can have a, you know, a lore enriching experience, which is what we're bringing to the listeners right now.
There's more than I thought there'd be.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I can't speak to this boss in particular because obviously I'm a lore person, but I know that what can happen is if you have a character, if you have a boss that's cool, it's just really interesting to look at, it's interesting to fight. People who are just in it for the mechanical interactions, people who are just here for the PVM, they'll go into that, they'll be like, oh, this is really cool. I want to know more about this character.
Mm-hmm.
So there are definitely ways that you can bridge that gap. How effectively this boss did that, I'm very much the wrong person to ask. But like Carapac, for instance, I think even people who are more PVM focused rather than being lore focused will agree that Carapac is a more interesting boss fight because we have this history with him. Or Zamorak is a more interesting boss fight because Zamorak is an established character. We know.
I think people who found was Zuck. Like they thought that was so cool, and they're like, "Oh, what's
Zuck
this?"
is a great example.
Old school, and then you brought it over.
Yeah. How? Oh, this is such an awesome fight. I want to learn more about this guy. I seem to remember hearing someone at Jagex say that was something they heard about Araxor. Like people,
interesting,
really liked Araxor, and they were like, "When are we getting a spider quest? I want to learn more about this guy. Give me the spider quest."
Yeah, and they're like, "Yeah, we didn't think of that."
Also, are people really afraid of spiders? Maybe this is the wrong forum to ask.
Yes.
Yeah, people are. Old school's getting like they're like, was it third or fourth spider boss?
Yeah, Slayer boss.
You can't keep cutting off bosses for me like this.
Anyways. At the end of it,
left my house because there's a spider in it.
Oh, where? Oh, really? Serious?
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, you have giant poisonous spiders.
Exactly.
There.
Yeah. To go off on another tangent, this is years ago. I was on the way home from work, and a huge huntsman, almost as big as my hand, has gone running across the inside of my car. This is peak hour traffic. 3 lanes of traffic. I've slammed on the brakes, thrown it in park, and dived out of the car. And I'm sitting there going, now, how the bloody hell am I going to get this thing out? And I've blocked up, traffic's blocked up, and everything's going. No, that's the thing. Huntsmen's are, but they're just big, hairy, tarantula-looking things. And they're huge, but they're actually, they eat other spiders, so they're actually a good spider because they kill other spiders, but there's such ugly-looking things. A guy behind me comes and goes, oh, what's going on? I said, there's a huntsman in my car. He just looked at me and goes, are you effing kidding me? He reaches in, grabs it in his hand. I'm sitting there, my skin's crawling because he just picked it up in his hand. He's walked over, put on the embankment on the side of the road. Now get in your car and drive. It's just but so it's just a little tangent to tell you. But
okay,
I don't like spiders at all.
I'm sorry, Avery. Did I say something about cutting you off? No? Okay.
when I was a kid, I woke up. I was probably 10 or 11 years old. We'd gone camping, and there was a huntsman on my face asleep. So that's why I've been scared of spiders ever since then.
Fair
you
enough.
wake up and you just your eyes, and you just see, what are those lines, and you just sort of wipe your face, and there's a spider there. Yeah,
I hate that.
right across your face.
I hate spiders.
Yeah.
All right. Grave Records. These are the pages that you find inside the inside the dungeon.
I love the progression of these. I feel like I felt rewarded for every couple of pages. Like, oh wow, that was actually something really interesting. I'm glad I got to this threshold of page, because you need to.
Yeah, it escalates really interestingly.
Theoretically, a person needs to go through this dungeon twice to get them. Once to get some of them, and the other time to remember telegrab runes.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, actually,
half of them are telegrabbable.
Yep.
But if you go in the first time, you see straight away there's one that is telegrab.
Oh, you could.
So I thought, oh, good. So I went out, got telegrab runes, and went back in.
Yeah,
Very
I
smart.
missed that one the first time. I had to go back and get a couple in Vermix's room.
Right. So I did this twice. I liked the progression because I felt, especially near the end, there's some big hitters. So,
yeah.
Good one.
And, it starts off, and, feel free to fill in points along the way as we go. We learned that Amiskit is using the Order of Slayers for her own purposes in some of these entries. Anyone care to speculate on what these purposes might be?
So these are theoretically, I think, written all by Slayer Masters, right?
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
The book examines as a collection of notes and musings written by those in the Sanctum of Rebirth. That might be just generic to not say what's what.
Yeah.
But the way these read, to me, it feels like there's different authors for different pages. Like the first one says is very aware of the Devourer, right? But the second one's like this person Jesmona, which we know is a character that Amiskit plays during Smoke and Kills. This person Jesmona is asking us to kill some monsters. I feel like there's like different bits here, and then near the end they're commenting on Nakatra's state, and I feel like some of these probably were written by Nakatra. And then some of them like going to the jungle or staying in the desert.
And that does correspond to where you find Slayer Masters.
Yes,
right. Like there's one going to the jungle that's very into the Devourer. That's clearly Lapalok or some descendant of Lapalok. I believe. I'm going to say clearly, but it's very unknown.
It's a logical assumption.
Right. And meanwhile, the ones getting tricked by Jesmona, I'm like, that might be Cadillacs, because he didn't do too well with her.
Not so much.
Getting killed in the Polonavich Slayer dungeon. So yeah, I feel like the purpose is here. I don't know if it's been said. I think that it was maybe alluded to in the Menaphos Sunken Pyramid mural lore, was that during the period where the Devourer had tricked the Slayer Masters into being in order and going around the desert and killing things, that was a ruse to devour big souls.
Yes. She was funneling monster souls into some machine that was in the bottom of the Slayer dungeon.
Machine, right?
Oh, that okay. So that's starting to line up there.
And what she was doing with that, I think, is unclear.
And some of the Slayer Masters thought they were noble in doing it. Yeah. Like they were going to Uzer and killing these demons with the Ceredominists. And some of them very much knew that they were working for the Devourer, like some of these people writing these pages.
And lo and behold, that becomes our core 120 Slayer journey. So we get to take part 2.
Yeah, it turns out we've been helping Amiskit take over the world this whole time. Oops.
Right.
My bad. Sorry, guys.
Very tertiary desert lore, but I'm glad it's getting touched on.
Right.
They did talk. One of the journals said about talked about the Slayer gems. Did we know beforehand that the Slayer gems were created in this way, or?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so.
No.
I think they were just kind of there.
Modified Golem cores.
Yeah.
They do say in the journals modified Golem cores. They do say also that the Golem cores are bluish-greenish, which made me think, is this...
What color is that?
Yeah.
Based on the whole dungeon is Moonstone, it just... I might have had Moonstone on the mind.
I mean, it tracks because they're clearly not they're not quite, but they're somewhere halfway between Moonstone and Sapphire.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it would make sense.
And to be fair, given the time in which these were created, I think what they likely did is they just combined the diamond and the sapphire together. And I think even if you do that, you get pretty close to the actual Slayer gem in terms of the actual color of it. But being derivative based off of Golem Core, on that, you can kind of, take a few steps away and see how you might get to that, bluish hue after that. So
yeah.
That's interesting when you think about it. I
lore.
never realized that I needed to know about that before, but here we are.
Future lore diggers.
Someone writing this journal thought someone needs to know about this.
But that's it. I mean, but it's just that nice little extra. I like when they throw little things in. Like, never really thought about where the Slayer gems or anything have come from before, but it's just that little. Oh yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah,
it's a neat way to.
I like little nuggets like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
The myth of the underworld.
This was
an interesting story.
Unlocking them.
Yeah.
This one has so every page before this is called undated journal entry, and there's just one randomly called exaggerated tales of death. Maybe after 9 pages, you're like, this one's different. Yeah. And it's the first part of a myth that talks about Guthix creating the underworld and then unintended side effects of certain elemental energies.
Like the Lord of Bones.
Yeah. That turning out to not maybe be a great plan.
The Lord of Bones was honestly because I that is something that I've been thinking about since Forkath and Zemregal boss fight release, because it's called Invoke Lord of Bones, which is parallel to the Invoke Death incantation, which is you're invoking the guy Death right over there.
Compared to
I think it's even the description is you're asking Death for help. So the Lord of Bones is this is a person, or is this some mythical whatever? And this one kind of gives a little more. Granted, this reads as a myth, so who knows? It's specifically said as a second account.
I do think it's worth pointing out that the text explicitly says, "I cannot verify the accuracy of this."
It's a secondhand something,
right? And to be fair,
as close as Jagex can get to saying this is.
We might do something with this.
Or we might not. Literally.
And this is, of course, where everything else, mythical in game started, like death and whatnot. Those were, mythical entries until we got the death system in game and then further expanded on it with Halloween events and whatnot. So,
or more recently, like Erebus, I feel like that was more there's this Erosian afterlife we don't know about, like Nomad's Elegy or something. And then eventually, maybe what was it, 5 years later, 6 years later in Extinction, we actually go there.
Turns out there was some truth to the legend.
And isn't that what they say is that all myths and legend have at least some bearing, a kernel bearing in truth?
Yeah. So who knows? Maybe them putting this here is the Lord of Bones is definitely, or these 4 elemental whatevers are definitely something we're doing as a boss fight sometime. Or it's we're acknowledging that we made that drop, and maybe we'll make drops that have these names in the future. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing, right? Because, as a live game, RuneScape's story theoretically has to go on forever. So it does behoove Jagex to kind of seed story ideas that they can then pick up in 1 to 10 years.
I think Necrotic Elementals is quite the fancy of a lot of RuneScape players.
Yeah,
that's definitely true.
I was going to say that too. Is the sense that anybody gone from that, and correct me if I'm wrong here, we know that the first runes, so to speak, were what we talked about in Making or Meeting History. I don't remember the exact one, but it sounds like chronologically that these necrotic runes and whatnot, the energy that built them was something that existed from the very beginning with Guthix, right? Am I wrong in assuming that?
It was at least to the point where he made the underworld, which I don't think would have been before he was in Gielinor.
Well, we know that underworlds are realm specific.
Yes, we knew that. This myth kind of contradicts that, and that it sounds like they're made, or at least the version we have on Gielinor is made.
Yes. Well,
so
assuming
the question
that's true.
then is, how made are the other ones? Maybe they had their own gods and whatever that did it. Maybe Guthix went back and made some in retrospect. The myth with the old, like there's like the Sliskier, Rex Thouser Missing Presumed Death that we heard about like the Terragard one or something like that.
Yeah.
Or was that Oreb? That might have been Oreb. Yeah, it's kind of calling into question.
But don't you need an underworld to have a realm?
The underworld being something structured. Because it sounds like from this myth, the Gielinor one was like a void before, and there's literally nothing going. And they weren't going to afterlives or anything. But from like, I think it was actually the Oreb journal that like Terragard has something. It's like a frozen long haul that like they actually do go to. So the question is, why does Terragard have one if this myth is saying that Guthix made the Gielinor one?
Well, and we
know,
or
are they connected somehow?
We know that where the Fermenics go exists because we go there in
which is also a long haul. Yes.
Yeah,
but not frozen.
Not frozen one.
We're getting into all sorts of ancient RuneScape mythology here.
There's so much.
To the point, you know,
stuff...
you guys remember when the Halls of Gielinor was mythical? And then we were there in the next quest or something to that effect?
The Halls of Gielinor?
Oh, you mean the Tormented Demon?
No,
caverns?
the place where the eggs were hidden. Is that not what they were?
The Elder Halls. The Halls.
The Elder Halls, yeah.
The Elder Halls, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
And see, that's the point.
Lord
is
honestly
that
meant to be more rewritten than anything else in the game.
Right, and you know, they can do that with this dungeon, with necromancy and such, and it just provides on something for them to pull on if they ever want to, you know, go in that path of providing those sorts of things that are adjacent to godlike beings, I think.
Yeah, I think if I had to pick out of the four, they do say the Font of Spirit did like actual stuff. I think it has a lot of water imagery, so there's a couple things it could be, like the River Numenon, like the Lake Messenonite, whatever it's called in or maybe even like the Well of Spirits. I think there's a lot of like water imagery that the Font of Spirit could be. And I think the way that it's written, it's probably something we know, but I don't think that we can say for sure. The Lord of Bones sounds like the other one that like they just want to reference because we have the incantation from it.
Yeah.
And the other two, they don't want to say anything definitive now. But I think that out of the four of these, the Lord of Bones would probably be the one I'd want to see if they were for some reason to do it in like this storyline or something as some creature, just because it was in the Zemmer Eagle and Vorkath fight, and that feels like really cool foreshadowing to me.
Yeah, and I mean, when it comes to the, you know, the elementary elements as they're, you know, talking about in the Font of Spirit, so to speak, with that, I think one of the things they could definitely do with that is just have that be, you know, a reference or something you use maybe in one of the quests going forward with modest necromancy requirement around it. I think that's probably what we read into that at this point here. For what it
could be. You guys read a lot different reads than I did.
Oh, what's your read? Oh, please.
Well, no, just the way that whole paragraph was, the Font of Spirit. I took it, you know, the Spirit altar, and then it goes on to Lord of Bones, which was the Bone altar. The Noxus Miasma was the Miasma altar. Arisen Flesh.
Oh,
was the
for
Flesh
sure,
altar.
they're relevant to the related to the Necro runes.
Yeah, I left it at that. I thought, that's what the Font of Spirit is. It's the Spirit. I just thought it was the altar itself. So, yeah.
I've seen theories that, like, people are like, oh, Lord of Bones, definitely the skilling boss.
Yeah, well, I like how it says the Lord of Bones was the next safe place. It had no want or need. It ventured in the darkness and was never seen again. So, are we about to see it? Is it about to return? So
you know, people could be laughing at us when this show goes out because there's a chance that I think we will be getting a roundtable, not a roundtable, a roadmap update at some point soon. I think they
we
put
have
out.
to. I think
so.
Yeah.
We're gonna find it one way or another.
We have
in a couple
so
months,
much egg on our face, but that's the point: is that we get to talk about it now.
Yeah. We can speculate and get ourselves excited.
Yep.
Speculation is fun.
Well, let's continue that. What is a Masket's end goal?
That is a good question.
I think that's something first of all that will be answered in the Desert series.
Yeah, like ultimately, yeah.
Like us clear the corruption and have her return, right? Probably to do something.
I don't think that's her goal. I think that's our goal, is to clear her corruption. I think she's super fine with the corruption right now, because she's corrupted. So
the question seems to be, she's collecting souls.
Mm-hmm.
Why? What does she need them for?
To ascend?
Maybe to ascend.
How would that work?
Tie it back into well, we know that souls are energy.
Yep.
Right.
Right. In Nomad's Elegy, enough souls made a fake god.
Right. That's the whole fake Gielinor Monastery of Ascension thing. So yeah, she could just be draining power to try and power herself up so that she can overcome whatever curse is locking her out of the underworld, so that she can do question mark things. She seems to have a, if we're still taking Menaphos as canon, she seems to have a real big grudge against her dad.
Oh yeah,
let's just say let's not go that direction after the previous quest lines. I don't think more family drama is the key.
Well, maybe absorb. I don't know, or devour.
Maybe, or yeah. I mean, maybe she just wants whatever remnant of his power remains, because that's just pure god energy.
Yeah,
delicious, right?
Delicious and nutritious.
What was that the slogan for?
Everything. I don't know.
Okay.
Was it just for a specific thing?
Literally everything.
The reference to the Hall of Judgments. So we have the Sanctum of Rebirth. Now we have the Hall of Judgments. Where are you going at this, Sourdick?
This was on the last page, so I gave it a lot of credence. And it was in capitalized. So the last page is from some other Slayer Master getting to the Sanctum of Rebirth and seeing Akatra, and then musing on kind of mundanely what the previous purpose of the Sanctum was, which was to have the souls go through the Hall of Judgments to be assessed for rebirth. This read to me like this is what we're doing next. It's on the last page. It's kind of almost a little anticlimactic to what the rest of the journal was going up. And this one's this is the Trials of Spirit, the 5 Gates, the Hall of Judgment. These are existing places so it's another place in the Sanctum of Rebirth. It's another set of rooms or something that I think there's a high probability we visit it during the next quest. And if the skilling boss is doing the judgment trial, that might fit.
Oh, that's an idea.
Yeah, that's a very...
It's not like a real boss, right? It's not a monster or anything. It's doing stuff, which might be more skilling bossy. That kind of read to me that way. But it is just something said on the last page that there was this place called the Halls of Judgment that old spirits used to go through to be judged for rebirth. I think that might have a weight on what we do next.
Or it could just have nothing to do with it, right?
Or it could just be a place we never see. Yeah.
Well, they did say in the, I don't remember exactly what they said, but I do remember that in the in the roadmap live stream, they did say that the Sanctum, the skilling boss, and the next story quest would all kind of tie together.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So there is definitely...
if they're in the same place...
Just factoring in this journal and everywhere we've been, how do you bring the next story quest from Zemregal, Vorkath, and the Fort to the Sanctum?
Well, one of the big open questions right now is what is up with Bilrock?
Yes, I think
because last we knew Bilrock died, and now he's very much not dead, or at least there's something walking around wearing a Bilrock suit, one of the two. So the fact that we're in a place called the Sanctum of Rebirth might hint that maybe that had something to do with it.
Someone took his meat suit.
I think the two paths are either one, we're being proactive with Zemregal. He sends us to the Sanctum to find out more about what Bilrock, because he has some idea, or because the Slayer Master Order might know more, or because Soul Devourers are related. There's the proactive path. Or 2, there's the we're keep chasing Bill Rock doing stuff path, where he's come here to suck some other creature's soul, or all of the Soul Devour, because they're kind of similar to whatever he took from Vorkath.
Right.
I think we're probably on one of... It's either proactive or reactive in those ways.
But didn't we say that Moya had something to do with that? And is there any way that she could get into and anywhere near the Sanctum to use that on Bill Rock?
As far as people getting to the Underworld, I have no idea what the rules on that are, so...
Yeah, we don't seem to have had consistent... That doesn't seem to have been treated consistently, partially for humor.
Nomad could just get in, right? But, like, Mortiphus Malignimus, whatever his name is, had to be teleported in, like, shown it. Like, this is the Underworld, you can be here now.
Yeah, Nomad can get in, but, like, Herald hates him. Like, they're clearly at odds.
There's ways to break in, especially if you're Zamorak.
Philippe can just sort of chill.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, Philippe.
Yeah, I'm here. Come get your clues.
Don't worry, I swear I'm not dead.
So
said lots of other people in RuneScape and in real life that get reanimated.
Not dead.
Yeah, we won't go there again.
She's had enough.
All right, let's talk about the Broodmother, because that could be your tease for the upcoming content. First boss, and this is the book you get there. You know, I feel like these books were the simple bit, and the big thing was the pages, which I guess makes sense.
Don't you worry, we'll find something to talk about here.
Okay, well, you tell me, because the way I saw it, the book details Vermix's past in the desert, where the worms would flourish as a result of that, and just imagine what would happen if all of the coil spawns of Vermix became active in the desert, right?
Right. So I think there's a little line you can draw here where, first of all, the book says that worms, and these are like the worms that were active during the God Wars, which Vermix is, are the ancestors of strike worms. And strike worms are very well known for dropping items that upgrade our Slayer helmet. Mm-hmm. And we've been told that we're getting an upgrade to our Necromancy helmet soon. And then this journal ends with someone supposing, what if I made more of these out of her eggs?
Oh, so the next Slayer creature is going to be a new kind of undead strike worm then.
Yeah, you're thinking the Slayer
something related to
a coil spawn.
Her brood.
Yeah, Vermix baby.
I think that felt pretty... that
tracks.
You can't break that logic that easily.
And of course, if it's something else, we'll just, reference people back. We had a fun time with this episode.
Yeah, it's solid. It's a solid theory.
But if it is little strike worms or worms born from Vermix's eggs, we're going to say we were so right, and this is the proof.
So worms rather than grotworms.
Yeah,
worms.
Oh, that's a fun name for them. Also, in addition to the strike worm lineage here, the Devourer's influence caused Vermix's languish in terms of not being able to, I guess, spread and have the worms flourish throughout the desert, which I guess makes sense with the Devourer's influence on most things, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, I don't necessarily know that there's too much to pull on that one. What was that, Pern?
So even a mascot was not into...
No, just... Have you seen the movie Tremors?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
No.
That's basically strike worms. Graboids, that's the ones.
All right. Anything else on Vermix? Or sorry, the Broodmother lore book?
I think the supposed Slayer monster...
That's the biggest connection.
The biggest part.
All right.
Yeah, I buy that.
Again, my only thing is drop it on the first kill. But anyway, we won't go there again.
Yeah.
You didn't get this one on the first kill?
No, I haven't got any other books yet.
I had all my lore books within about 20 kills on normal.
Yeah, to be fair, I've only killed the first 2 once because I'm concentrating on the third one at the moment.
Yeah, and, figure out Nakatra while you're
there. Death has given me 3 Nakatras to kill, so I took the assignment because it's going to be I must do this now. So
for MQC.
Yep.
The Beast of Darkness. Ah, yes. I'm glad. Was it me that put this in here, or was this you, Avernick, this quote?
I think it was you.
Okay. Right. I like the way it sounded. Wander, wander away from the path. Wonder, wonder what awaits in the dark. A hungry beast that hasn't been fed? A monster with blades instead of a head? Hurry on back and do not be late, for in the darkness the wanderer waits.
Whoa, wonder.
That just has like the rhythm and rhyme to it of a children's scary storybook, doesn't it?
Yeah,
I think that's how the book read too, right?
Yeah, that's very much how I read it. Yeah,
a scary story until it wasn't.
Well,
and
I guess people
can
can dress up as Kezalam and the pylons for Halloween.
Yeah, I'm going to be a pylon for Halloween.
Dressing up as
Absolutely.
the pylons. You have two
we
very
require
willing
more
friends.
Vespine gas.
Oh boy, we're having troubles here this week, folks.
I think we'd be remiss to not mention the similarities to Sodaseg in Old School, which is a dark beast that has Shadow Realm powers.
Have not got there yet.
In Theater of Blood.
Okay. Fair enough.
I think that was a popular guess before we learned Kezalam's name in one of the the blog posts that preceded the update. I don't know if it was... What was that?
Sorry. I said Theatre of Blood. Sounds like something out of the Rocky Horror Picture Show, but anyway.
It kind of is.
Fine. Sorry, I threw you off.
I think it was a popular guess, and it wasn't that, but it does feel sort of similar. So I don't know if it's inspiration, if it's supposed to be
I'd say inspiration, because if they were going to go direct, they would just go direct on that, probably.
Yeah, it could just be like cross-pollination of ideas.
Right.
Because they are
dark beasts. I think you just kind of get to Shadow Realm pretty quickly, or shadowy stuff.
I mean, nominally, these games are supposed to be in like the same universe, just like next door versions of each other. So
right.
It would make
IP
sense.
stuff.
Yeah.
No, this one's cool.
Go ahead.
No, you can read the quote.
Okay,
first.
I was going to read the quote.
A
handful of scratches upon the horned monstrosity in exchange for a few members of the party, which I'm sure was everybody's first experience doing Kezalam on hard mode.
On normal mode to start.
Imagine doing hard mode. Wouldn't be me.
It is rough in hard mode. It is rough in hard mode for sure. I end it with like 5 ice prisons just scattered around the arena because they don't disappear in hard mode.
But I think the thing that you realize here is that these people actually went in, tried to fight this thing, and actually made away with some of its blood to the point that they said, this isn't normal blood. There's actually something strange about it.
Right. There's something like doctored up about it or something. So I think especially at the end of the book, it's presuming like what was, like if the party was sent there, what was the plan behind it?
Yeah,
and if it was
exactly.
something like juiced up or modified or genetically modified or whatever, like, is this like supposed to be devouring things for a mascot? Is this I just don't know when the journal was written, but like was it like a war machine that the Zerosians made during their war with the desert? There's a couple ways you could go with this.
And I think of all the stuff we have, this one's probably, the one that's the least clear that it's hard to draw inspiration on as to what exactly is going on here.
There was some fun stuff said during a Discord stage yesterday. It was on Wednesday.
Yeah, they didn't put that up yet, unfortunately. So I didn't.
Okay, so I'll not touch on it then. Never mind.
No, you can. If there's things that are relevant to this, please, bring them in.
The interesting thing was that at some point in design, Kezalam was the final boss.
Oh.
At some point, it was just 3 beasts. There was no the Slayer Master integration got added when like they were trying to integrate more with the story going on. So like just the fact that like Kezalam might have been like the big bad of the dungeon, or like the big honcho. I feel like
it kind of does feel like that, if it was just
I
had an extra
would have
mechanic
preferred that
associated with it.
it's supposed to feel like the hardest, toughest thing. I think it does feel tough. Like it's such a step up from Vermex.
Definitely.
But yeah, just that it's supposed to be like so imposing and stuff like that. Maybe this lore is kind of hearkening to the period where it was like the toughest thing, like in Araxor or whatever.
Yeah, and the sense that this book also gives is that this thing just devoured anything that went to it, and if you made it through and you were able to go find a contra at the end, well, you were truly something, because it appears as though that the entire party that went initially in through this lore book was sent to their doom, and you have to question, was that part of the plan all along? I think.
Yeah, they seem to think so.
Probably one of the Slayer Masters that was more aware of the Devourer than the others is like, you should you apprentices, you should go fight this thing and sacrifice your souls.
And then, lo and behold, at the end, you find Nakatra, which I think was, in the grand scheme of things, like you were mentioning, the surprise about how one was a beast and then it became not. That's the surprise at the end of it all. And that's where we get to Death and Devourers, where you realize that it was actually the Order of Slayers that was the group that was sent in with this. And to find Nakatra at the end, you gotta imagine what the looks on their faces might have been when they see, somebody else as the final, entity that's similar.
Supposedly one of their own.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. They're definitely confused to see her in her diary, or in the journal she drops.
And with that, who is this Cathorn Magitus?
Definitely not previously mentioned.
No.
Which by name dropping them makes me think, oh, maybe they're an NPC in the next quest. They just sitting somewhere else in the Sanctum.
Maybe. I don't know, because they do
huge,
that sometimes. It is definitely bigger than what we've seen.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's something that they've done with other journals. They just give a name on them just to sort of give them a little
it totally
bit
could be someone's cat's name that worked on the project. That is also an option.
Yeah. But, you dive into it and you find that, Cathorn Magitus was a member of the Order of Slayers, wounded by Kurask of all things, and we all remember those back in the day when we were first doing Slayer.
Sometimes they just get you.
And then later on, Cathorn winds up meeting Nakatra in the Sanctum, and it was that whole discussion that takes place amongst, I guess, Nakatra, but also in the book here, about how Moonstone and how everything just, in effect, I guess, meshes and, fits all together here. And the big difference is that, well, we have Lady Nakatra at the end, but then we have two beasts for the first two bosses. So what's going on here?
There's like a big Moonstone connection, because every boss has a Moonstone mechanic.
Yeah.
Between the spikes in Vermix and the obelisks in Keslam and Nakatra. I am forgetting them. It's just in all her journals. She talks about in this journal, talks Moonstone. It's like there's something about Moonstone that maybe might play a part.
They all drop Moonstones.
It's all
on their table.
It's on their table. There is one line in here that's about Nephthys, which is the soul devourer that she summons during the fight.
Yeah,
that you have to kill, and it's reminding me of a line that the cat says at the end of her fight, which I don't think we hadn't mentioned in the notes, but the line was like, "I hope Flarin hasn't seen Nephthys."
Yeah, Nephthys is like something that I'm interested about.
There's some connection there.
Why would the cat say that?
Well, that's the question. It seems like Nephthys is known. It actually seems like Nephthys is similar to Icthlarin in some way.
I've seen theories that like Nephthys was maybe like Icthlarin's mother or something like that, like when he was a dog, like an actual dog.
Interesting.
Or a sibling or something like from like his dog days.
See where I'm going with it, because the last paragraph of Death and Devourers talks about Nephthys and talks about how Nephthys is different, and specifically mentions that there's something human about Nephthys. And that makes me think that maybe because like the lore of Icthlarin, which I think is more or less taken to be true at this point, the lore of Icthlarin and Amascut is that they were the pets of Tumikin and Elidnus, who were elevated into sentience and personhood. So this makes me think that Nephthys might be
the one that wasn't elevated.
Sibling. No, I think Nephthys was.
Oh, okay.
I think Nephthys. I think Nephthys is what happened to. I think Nephthys is like Icthlarin and Amascut's sibling, and is a version of like what happened to Icthlarin in Sliske's Maze. So I'm thinking Nephthys is another demigod who has been devolved.
Yeah, I could see that.
That would cause.
That explains
really
what my big point of concern was going to be, is that, like you were saying, you see sentience in Icthlarin, but I don't necessarily know that you see that in Nephthys, because it's more like we were saying, beast-like, right?
Yeah. So I'm thinking something has happened to Nephthys to devolve him. I'm not
them,
really sure. Them, whoever.
Go neutral. Yeah,
and that would cause Icthlarin a lot of pain to know that, which is why the cat thinks it's better that he not know.
Right. And then I kind of like with that timeline, if this was, like when they became demigods, that this happened, and maybe the devolve happened over a little time. Also, calling it a soul devourer, maybe this was like the idea for a soul devourer.
Maybe
this being the first. And then Amascut basing the design off of what happened with Nephthys.
Maybe.
Because it worked out to where it needs.
And you factor that into that final boss fight, and it makes sense. And I think that would also, you factor in the Katra and all the Amascut stuff. If you tie all these things together in, one or two quests, I think you can tell a compelling storyline, or a compelling story with that. So
there's definitely some interesting threads to pull on.
So isn't Katra losing her mind?
Pulling on a lot of them?
No, not anytime soon.
No.
Wait, what did you say?
Isn't Katra losing her mind?
I was saying, what is there to say? Sorry.
Oh yeah, no, I was just saying, like, I don't think we're going to pull on these anytime soon. But
I
at some
think
point,
that we're going to pull on the Katra stuff soon.
Yeah,
there's not the Amascut stuff soon.
Yeah, not the Amascut stuff. Yeah, maybe the Nikatra stuff.
I think the Katra losing her mind. She likes the Devourer being the Devourer, so yes.
Yeah, I wouldn't say she's losing. I'd say lost, past tense.
She's on like the Lapalock side of things.
Yeah.
Which I think that it's possible she shows up for this next quest, and we find out more about her deal.
And that's the big question that comes out of all of this, is that we were saying at the very top of this that there's nothing to say that the next storyline is going to be Underworld related, but the roadmap did very clearly say that the Sanctum of Rebirth, the Skilling Boss, and the next quest were all going to have some sort of tie-in together too with that. So I think, if you're going to pick one thing that comes out of this, do you think it's that link between Nephthys and Icthlarin, and how Nikatra fits in with all that we're going to explore next, Avernick? Because you were saying we might see that, you think?
I think that's possible as a side thing. I think the main thing we're going to explore is it's hard to say just like, the Sanctum in general. But like, I think like the Order of Slayer Masters are probably going to be a key player in this next quest.
Right, involving the Raptor.
Possibly involved. So the Raptor's not in them, but I think that might be our is involving the Raptor. But like, I think Cadillacs is probably the top one that I would expect to see.
Okay.
I think that,
and I don't think we've touched on that since like 2006, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that's most of the reason I think that it's up there.
Cadillac's got a little bit of love in Menaphos. He got mentioned a couple of times in the Slayer dungeon lore, but yeah.
So that's a guess. It might be wrong.
And that's the whole fun bit behind these Lore Digger specials, is that we're just putting everything out here on the table that was in the dungeon and providing some context for people who don't have that, and allowing for the people who do know a little bit more to use this as a jumping off point and say yes, no, maybe so. And that's why we like doing these Lore Digger specials.
They're fun.
Absolutely.
So
that's why lore is so good in RuneScape, because you can speculate and it's always a mystery.
It really is. It really is.
Until it's not what you want it to be.
Yeah,
and then storm the gates.
And then
like the raptor being the queen. Yeah.
And then it's,
cannons and 66, boys.
You took the words right out of my mouth. Well, Double XP starts again on August 2nd and ends on the 12th. You get the usual 48 hours and the entire 10 days to use them with. So just a quick mention on that, and the Double XP bundle returns for that. Anybody have any Double XP goals here this time around?
I am just going to get my construction and my summoning and what's the other one? Prayer to 195.
Holy cow! Okay.
Nice.
Then it'll be pretty much everything's between 190 and 195 now, and then it'll just be, after I get those two there, it'll be the slog to 200 mil all.
Nice, getting there.
Nice.
Yep, I'll have it by the end of the year.
Nice. How about you, Avernick?
I'm kind of split on this double XP because we've been told 110 skills are a thing, and I don't really want to train them.
No, because you don't have the good training methods.
Yeah, because I want to do the new training method in a way that gives me benefit. Like, I have 104 smithing. Do I want to train it to 110? I kind of just want to do whatever the new thing is going to be. So, and then I'm thinking, well, every skill is going to be 110 theoretically. Do I want to train them? No, as well. Like, I already have 120 woodcutting fletching. Like, that update's kind of just going to be do the content and done for me.
Make money.
I guess that's not important to me. I'm very happy spending money.
There's a necessary precondition to spending money.
I just spent so much money on your 95 necro weapons. I just spent like 1 point whatever freaking bill on necromancy weapons.
Oh, they're back up to that?
Yeah, the lantern is like a bill.
It was like 700.
Oh, I should go back to Raziel. Screw the Sanctum.
Yeah, because of the T100 upgrades, a lot of the T95s jumped back up again.
The Lord of Bones Codex was up to 700 mil at some point. So
you're not having me go back to Vorkath. I did my 100 kills there, and we're calling that.
There's stuff to do. And then the Tier 95 one.
Oh, how did this turn into what have we been doing? I got some patch notes before we.
Sorry, I'll sign off with double XP. I kind of don't want to do it, but we'll see.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah, that's where I'm at too. I don't care about virtual 120, so I'm just going to be doing my own thing.
Nice.
Watch that timer tick down.
Yeah, the Contra hard mode. Let's trio it. User Bones, Avernick, and myself. Let's do it.
I cannot carry for the life.
Too bad, because you're going to have to.
Oh, no.
Well, maybe the combined DPS of Avernick and myself will be enough.
Half the time, if they put those changes in they were talking about for groups the other day on Reddit, then
yeah, maybe.
What changes?
They were talking about only doing 80% extra health per player.
Oh.
Yeah, there was some talk from, I think it was Mod Ryan, because like one of the complaints people have been having about group mode is like it's great if everyone is good and knows what they're doing
of the same level.
But if you're trying to take someone who doesn't know what they're doing, it's just
it offloads more onto the person who seemingly knows what they're doing, because it adds more Nephthys, it adds more HP and whatnot.
Yeah,
right. And the other change they were talking about making was if someone dies in the kill, they take out the extra spawns for other mechanics as from that point on. So like there wouldn't be extra Nephthys if someone died before Nephthys or something.
Right.
Or someone, like if they died during, but before Nephthys shows up.
Or extra scarabs or whatever the mechanic was. And then the other one was 80% health instead of 100%. So it's a little more fun to do with groups.
Okay, so those are changes that could be on the way, but changes we actually got this week. They put in an accuracy fix for correcting an accuracy miscalculation that was resulting in people having higher accuracies than they thought. But they did adjust the defensive values for the Sanctum of Rebirth to maintain a hit chance balance. And I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like I have more accuracy this week than I did the previous week.
I agree.
You do. It's a little bit higher.
Okay.
They said that it would be just sort of because of how accuracy works on the back end.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Then.
So I think mine, I don't remember the numbers off the top of my head, but I think last week I was doing 81 at Nakatra, and now I'm doing 86.
Okay, that sounds about right. Tier 90, Tier 95?
90. Tier 90, Amulet of Souls, Sorrow, no...
Nihil?
No Nihil, no Familiar.
No,
Tank,
no Familiar.
Sorry, Power Gear. Yeah, no Familiar. Not Reaver's Ring, Solar Ring.
Zorgoth's, yeah.
Yeah, Zorgoth's Ring.
Yeah, don't use Reaver at the Sanctum.
That's pretty close to my set, but tier 95s because I felt like I was having fun.
Yeah.
For weapons only.
Well, they also modified the VFX to include temporary visual effect tweaks at the Sanctum to improve performance for all players.
Permanent fix is pending an engine release.
Yeah. And maybe this speaks to my computer. It's a computer from 2020 that I built, but I had no problems with it. How was it for all of you?
I'm playing on minimum, and I still feel like sometimes it loads in a little late. But I'm playing on a laptop from 2015 or 16.
Oh, okay.
So, that kind of checks out.
Yeah, and that kind of says what kind of experience you'd have, because hardware and laptop hardware has come a long way since then.
Yeah,
Definitely.
So I'm playing on... I'd never play on minimum. I always play on, high, and I'm fine. But this dungeon, with all of the floor effects, minimum.
All right. Pernacius or Dones, how was it for you guys?
Yeah, fine for me. I mean, I play on my desktop when I do bossing on Ultra. I have no issues. It's just my issues are Australian internet and my skill.
That's a little bit harder to overcome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a feeling we've all been running into the skill issues these past 2 weeks.
Oh yeah,
definitely. I'm playing on my tower that I built last year on high ultra settings. I've actually seen more problems this week, more graphical problems, but the graphical problems I'm seeing are the tiles flickering.
Ooh.
So not anywhere near as severe as what other people have been reporting.
I did have an issue last week that is no longer here. That was the entire screen was flickering.
That's rough.
The whole game view, real quick, once every minute. Not to the point I think it was affecting me too much, but I was like, that's never happened before, and that's weird.
Right.
Yeah, and I mean, you guys aren't dumb people, so I mean, it's obviously not a you problem, right?
Well, I'm not just suddenly not seeing the screen every minute.
Yeah. Safe Death Week was extended until August 4th, and they updated the calendar entries for Sanctum of Rebirth and Free Death Week to also be extended until the 4th. That was actually hot-fixed in last week. I looked at this last Thursday, and I saw that was happening, so...
Yeah, I remember noticing that last week, too.
That the calendar said that, so... Yeah. That's nice. It gives me more time to bash my head in against hard mode. Which I think I might try again after the show here.
Hell yeah.
Underworld tasks fixed an issue causing the BYOB elite area task to not be completed while wearing the Herblore Master Cape. Oops.
Tiny oversight.
Yep. And the Cut the Moonstone step from the passing the test hard Underworld achievement area task can now be completed before completing the mythical Moonstone achievement.
I got so many of my clanmates.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they hadn't talked to the Master Craftsman about how to make the jewelry yet, and the achievement was hard looking for it while you're cutting the Moonstone, which you can do without it. So
yeah, well, yeah, because the talking to the guy is just learning how to make it into jewelry.
Right.
There's no reason
from the
should
cut
need
state.
that. Yeah.
Another annoying part about this one, in terms of the passing the test achievement, is that you do actually need to cut the moonstone in and you might just think that, it's moonstone, so as long as I had already pre-cut it, it's fine, because, who's going to stock, cut moonstones in their bank? But
nope.
Anyways. The Shadow Tendrils ability should now damage the player once while using mechanized Chinchampas, making the ability single target even if multiple... If the weapon hits multiple NPCs at the same time.
That would have hurt.
Yeah,
that would have hurt.
So you could use mechanized Chinchampas to make Shadow Tendrils AoE.
And murk yourself.
Yeah, that's it.
Somebody had a lot of fun at Shattered Worlds, I'll tell you that.
Insta-death.
Yeah. Why did I just die?
Ruined the perks run.
Various lines in the Ratcatcher's quest have been updated to third-person dialogue rather than character dialogue. That quest deserves to die in a hole.
You're not wrong.
Imp Catcher quest beads can now be reobtained after destroying or losing them. Iron characters will be pleased about that.
Were people stuck on these steps because of that?
I was going to say, the new, when they updated Imp Catcher, it's like a 5-minute quest now.
But were people losing these beads and not able to finish the quest?
I don't know. Go kill more imps. That's how we did it in 2005.
Those beads don't count. If you bring those to Greysack, he says, "What the hell are those?"
No, they didn't.
It's only the quest ones now.
Yeah. I see what's going on here.
No, it's the quest
right, because they changed it. Right.
Because
real quest
beforehand, beforehand, it took me on one of my characters. It took me over 90 minutes to finish this quest, chasing one particular color bead.
Yikes!
And after the update, it's like a 5-minute quest. It's like bang, bang, bang. Thank you very much. See you later.
Now it's fun.
Remove normal mode. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I remember seeing someone who I think had started the quest pre-rework, stopped playing before they finished it, and then they came back post-rework, and they couldn't finish the quest. So I think this might be sort of targeting that kind of weird edge case.
Fair enough.
Remove the normal mode from the insane final boss achievement, which makes sense, I guess.
Great for people that have that.
Yeah.
Sucks for people who already did have it, but
And fixed an issue that prevented Hermod and Raziel from taking reflect damage. And believe it or not, this is actually very important in the final phase of Raziel, because what you can do is you can pop reflect in that final phase and use that as a supplement to your own damage to take him down even faster.
Ooh.
Right. Yeah, because you need all the DPS you can get in that last phase.
Yeah, you do. You do. Otherwise, it becomes a food boss. And finally, players will no longer be able to convert bonds into membership passcodes. Existing codes will continue to function, and bonds can still be used to grant 14 days of membership to the account that activates them. And there's actually a notice put out to the old school players specifically about this on their website that further explained this even more. And the interesting part about all this is that if you dive even deeper into what was posted by Modazana on Reddit, is that there appears to have been some sort of bad actor thing going on with these passcodes. So that was their reason.
Running bots on old school to buy them and then
getting
getting
rid of
them
them.
RS3 accounts.
I don't know. Who's to say?
Could be, it could be that. Could be like real world trading, maybe.
And, you look at the price of bonds also on both games, you see them going up, and you wonder, well, maybe that has something to do with it.
Maybe.
So.
I guess we'll find out if prices crash.
Yeah. And
I do remember looking at them. I thought I saw them ticking down. So maybe.
Well, I know based on our discussion we had a few weeks back on the monetization angle, we could definitely do with them coming down a bit.
Oh, God, yes.
Yeah. Well, you are right, Zerdones. They have actually ticked down there. Measuring at 124, right now, but if we go back
good.
2 weeks, they were at 140. So,
yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about what we've been up to then on RS before we end this off. I'll go to user don'ts first because I know you got a big story here.
I do. So, regular viewers or listeners will know that I've been working on Barrow's log for ages, and I finished it.
Well
I only
done.
went and bloody did it. Finished it yesterday.
How many kills all up?
2,773.
Oh, dear goodness.
For Linza's hammer, my last piece.
How dare
I'm
she?
free. So now I'm trying to sell off all this crap.
I was going to say, now you got to try and sell it.
After taking out a set of all the armors to save for the Rot's pets, GE mids total up to just under a bill. It's about 900. What did I say? I wrote it down. Yeah, okay. If I factor in the dragon helmet that I alked and the bolt racks, which I haven't been able to sell, I'm just over a bill. So far, I've sold about 660 mil, most of which is from amulets, because amulets are going like hotcakes. So I'm still trying to sort of slowly sell everything else. I've still got a lot to go.
It's just so interesting to me that you kept the entire stack there, and I can only imagine the demand associated with traditional Barrow's armor.
It's actually higher than I think you would expect. A fair number of them did actually insta-sell, but the vast majority I'm slow selling, and I'll probably have to drop the price a little bit, but I'll do that sort of over the weeks to come. I'm not in a tremendous hurry.
See, Avernick, that's the precursor. To spend money, you have to make money.
Yeah. But what if I just play Treasure Hunter and get tons of GP for free?
Yeah, I will say make money, but find a more efficient way to make money than doing 2,800 Barrow skills.
Just get drops.
Buy bonds and sell them.
Yeah, that'll do it. 140 mil a piece.
Get Lord of Bones drops all around. Lord of Bones drops
all day. So with Barrows out, I'm now into Dagonoth Kings. So I did a few hours of the Kings today. I'm up to about 2,500 KC, and I still need all 3 pets.
Is that all you need?
God, I finished that one.
That's all I need.
I was in the middle of chasing that one when Slayer pets were released, and that's where I actually got my Slayer pet on I think it was the 4th or 5th kill of a Slayer task with Dagonoth Kings.
Nice.
So yeah.
Nice.
No, it wasn't, because Slayer was my favourite skill. That was what I was looking forward to doing. And I get it in like 5 minutes. I said, "Are you kidding me?" Yet Malcolm Invention took 230 mil.
Yeah, okay, fair.
But yeah.
Fair enough.
All right, good to hear on that, and I guess we'll be coming back to check in on how the DK grind is going. I can't wait for you to get to other fun ones like the Corp Beast and the Magister.
Those aren't fun ones.
Magister is so easy. It's just the cost of the keys.
Yeah, Magister will be fine. It's just expensive. Magister, I already have everything except for the pet and the gloves, so Magister's not going to be too bad.
Yeah, so as long as you complete the log, that counts. So you're not going to complete the log from scratch. So it's not like
I'm just going. I'm going for.
It's not crazy.
I'm going for Insane Reaper, Golden Reaper title, which is just complete the logs. In practice, I'm probably going to end up lapping the logs, just because pets are so rare.
Yeah,
like Barrow's log. I had a couple of pieces already, but I ended up getting doubles of pretty much everything. Other than the hammer and Aram's book, I think I ended up with at least 3 of every piece.
Why is that book so rare?
I don't know. Like, it's no more rare than really any other piece. Well, actually, Aram and Carol's pieces are a little bit rarer because they're sets of 6 instead of sets of 5.
Right.
Or sets of 4. So the way the mechanics work, they are a little bit each piece is a little bit more rare. But no, it's just luck.
All
Bad
right.
luck.
How about you, Pern? What have you been doing this week?
Again, just working on my 200 mil, getting everything to 195, and then going up from there. I clocked out my fishing, my wood cutting. They're all at 195 now, and still doing my Dragon Kings to get bones. So I'm almost 20,000 Dragon Kin bones. I went and tried Frost Dragons. Super easy and quick with Necro.
Oh yeah,
but the spawn rate, you're sitting there waiting for them to just.
Oh no!
It's not AFK. It's not really AFK because you've got to keep running.
So they got like 2010 spawn
around.
rates then.
Yeah, and you
Probably
can't put them in. I thought.
Necro.
Yeah, I took. Someone told me you can put them in your player-owned dungeon. I thought good, so I took down 5 of the what's it called? Usurpties.
Yep.
Nothing filled, and I'm going, what's going on? Then I've read it, and
Well,
no,
not
they can't
Slayer
go.
monsters.
No, they're not. So you can't put them in there. So yeah, so I just went back to Dragonkins. And the price difference, I mean, Dragonkin bones are only like 14k. Frost Dragons are 25k, and there's only like 30 XP between them. So
yeah. Well, and I mean, I guess it comes down to that spawn rate. So
yeah. Oh yeah. Well, the other one you can just AFK and old axe coils and things drop there. So easy 5 mil there and now and then.
So Avernick, tell me about your hard mode and how that how you got there eventually.
Well, the only reason I'm able to do hard mode is because I got released from the Sash Brush grind. I finally got that one.
Oh God, how long did that take?
Your own freedom. Good job.
200 or like 190 of each artifact from all 3 spots. So many hours, and I cannot say that the profit really existed. It was kind of break even.
Have you made the Tetra compasses yet?
I know that was the break even part, was paying for all of those silly colors.
Oh, nice.
And then selling all of my materials after. It's like, this
actually
is
hang on
similar.
190.
Are you?
I also had to buy all the extra
doing...
Dragon materials,
but no Maddox or rods or anything from there.
Oh, Maddox or
from the Tetra compasses.
Oh yeah, no Maddox or anything like that. Just materials and a bunch of artifacts I destroyed because I got 200 million archaeology experience from doing this.
Yeah, so you don't need any of those.
It's not something I even thought I would ever do, but I was like, the XP was going up insane as I'm like claiming all of these journals and all of these artifacts, and I was like, oh, there's 50 million experience just out of nowhere. So that was insane. But yes, now I've been doing Sanctum since it came out. Not a ton. I have 5 hard mode kills and like 30 normal mode kills. I was slamming my head against the hard mode thing for quite a while.
Just like me.
And I'm doing all of my Reaper tasks on normal mode because I don't want to be stuck on doing a hard mode version. Like, I really want this before the reset. But I still don't think I've done a hard mode Nakatra where I didn't have to bail or die at some point. There have been points where I've used up my free life from the Defense Cape perk.
I don't actually like that because, it kicks you back with 0 adrenaline, 0 souls.
It does suck, but if I'm in the last phase, I'm
you can
push
build
through.
back and do it.
But if it happens in the first 2 minutes, I'm like, and I'm going to go reset that so I can have it for the last phase just in case.
Right. Oh, you've been doing that too. And how many? Geez, I don't even know.
So many life refresh scrolls.
They're 2,500 marks each.
I have 80 from Treasure Hunter.
How did you do that?
I spend all of my oddments on... I'm a total hypocrite, and I take the free keys when I can get them. And I spend all my oddments on the combat, what's the time to train, whatever that is, like where they put the Arc Lake or the Zamorak or whatever up. Because I always want to go for the overrides, because I like the overrides, the combat overrides. Right. And then you just get so many life refresh things that, like, I was at like 80. Now I'm at like 30. So, this isn't going to last forever. I use them very, very frivolously. But yeah, Nikatra is going okay. Like I said, I'm going at minimum graphics. I think most of my success is from just at this point knowing like, oh, her bar is full, and this is probably likely where she would do a Scarab attack, or this is likely where she would do a Florence attack, and just getting into position for it. That's how I feel
you could just up your DPS. You could just up your DPS to a point where you don't get the Scarabs.
Well, that would be nice if I was any good. I agree.
Just hit harder.
I am getting better. My kill times, I think my best kill time is 7.5 minutes. They're long. They're absolutely. My first one was like 8.5.
Yeah.
It's quite rough, but I'm happy that I'm able to do it. And if I ever get a Sharded Genesis drop, I am dropping right back down in normal mode and going for log. I'm done. Unless I get so close to Devour Aura that it's worth going for, but it takes me so long to get each kill that. Yeah, who knows?
It's gonna be a long road.
And that's honestly what I've been doing this week as well. As I've been banging my head against that hard mode wall, and it got to a point, and I wrote about this in Discord, where I need to adjust some keybinds or something to that effect to make it so that I have the dive and the soul or the split soul and all that available readily. I want it on a keybind, as with Protect from melee and whatnot. But it's something that is going. I hope and plan to get it before the free death period is up. I will say that much. But I agree with you. Is that to a point? Use normal mode for Reapers and whatnot if you can. But I do think it is good to be able to do hard mode. And I guess after we're done, we'll compare notes on where we were at on that. And that's been my entire week as well. I will say. I got another Divine Rage book. I got the Scripture of Amaskit book, and I got all the 3 lore books as well with that. So, haven't got any wands yet or orbs.
I've just gotten an orb. That was my reward for getting my first hard mode kill.
Oh, nice!
Very nice.
A nice reward.
I was like, that was worth it. Doesn't sell. I'm like, well, I guess I'm keeping it.
But there is something to be said for having, relatively cheap Tier 95 magic weapons out there.
Oh,
that is good.
It's such a cool weapon. I honestly might dip my toe back into magic, just if I got the wand as well.
Is that what you were before necromancy?
Yeah, it was magic. I was using Seaweir, whatever.
Yeah.
Wands, an orb. Just that. I don't switch to anything. Just that with either Saren armor or like the God War Dungeon 2 stuff, or Ganodermic, depending on the situation, whether I need to animate dead or not.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, but I don't think I necessarily have anything to add on that. If people want to hear more about my adventures in that, I'll be back next week with that, I think. And of course, you can pop in the Discord where I've been writing about that. I guess after the show, I'm going to be working on keybinds, I guess.
You're going to be getting the kill.
No, I got to do my keybinds first.
Keybinds first, then you'll get the kill. Stay positive.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Manifest.
Just put dive on every keybind, and that's kind of the dungeon.
Pretty much.
Let's do some achievements. We have Dumb Dragon with 99 Necromancy on the 31st of July. And the outdoors as well on the 30th with 99 Necromancy. Xenon Ray got 120 Prayer on the 30th.
On July 28th, Toragrai with 99 Necromancy. And Xenon Ray with 120 Magic. And on July 27th, Jadkor, 120 Fishing.
Moving on to July 26th, we have Demi Heights with 99 Magic and Z with 120 Thieving. And then to the 25th of July, we have 120 Slayer for Bulbazard.
Nicely done, everybody. We're going to Pick of the Week next, and Pernasius has a Pick of the Week here that raised my eyebrow when he said the title of it, but it's okay. Censors, it's okay.
Checked it out.
So, what do you got for us?
This one is called You Like It Darker. I got it for my birthday off my daughter, who, like you, when I told her, she said, what do you want? I said, just get me this book, You Like It Darker. She's going, I'm not buying you a sex book. And no, it's not that. It is one by Stephen King, who everyone knows does have a very dark mind for his horror. It's a collection of 12 short stories. So, if you're not a big reader, don't not like big long books, it's nice little chunks. Really, every story is different, obviously. And just a good read between horror and thrillers. There's something about psychics, and if you like, everyone remember Cujo, the big Saint Bernard that got rabies? There's one called Rattlesnakes, which is actually a sequel to Cujo. And then there's other ones where the guy can predict the future. It's just a good collection, all different types of things.
I like people that can predict the future.
Yeah. So, nice, easy read. So I'd recommend picking it up. I'm old school. I like books. I don't like, I don't read on Kindles or digital things. I like to have the actual book in my hand, but it's available obviously on all formats. Audio book too as well for Tanis if he's into it. But yeah, great read. Highly recommend
in The Dreamers, taciturn Vietnam veteran answers a job ad and learns that there are some corners of the universe best left unexplored.
Have
you read that one yet?
Not that one yet, no. I've only actually read the first 3, so I'm in the middle of it at the moment. So
I'd be interested to hear about the Vietnam veteran one after you get there on that.
Oh, I'll skip ahead to that one and tell you about it next week.
Sounds good then. All right. Link to that can be found in the show notes over at update.show. But that pretty much brings us to the end of the episode here. A bit of a longer one here today for folks. We weren't anticipating on having the survey this week, were we? It feels like weird that we started off at that point, You think people are still here?
That was something we recorded last week.
You think people are still here after our waffling on the money?
Once he cut it all from the show.
No, we're not going to do that.
2 separate shows have that half and the second half.
Yeah, and then the After Dark half with reanimated bodies of certain people,
there
right?
you go. Oh, yeah.
But, of course, Update is available on all the podcast listening platforms out there, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pocket Casts, and more, as well as YouTube at youtube.com/RSBANDB. Do like and subscribe, bell notification, all that other fun stuff. Greatly helps the channel out, and of course, reminder that we are approaching 1,000. So, if you are interested in getting a memento for that, join the $5 tier if you want the card, and if you want a little bit something extra, we do have new openings in the experience tier as well for that. But patreon.com/RSBANDB, and we'll see you guys next week for another episode of RSBANDB Update. See you then, everyone. Take care.
Bye. Happy scaping all.
Bye.